Hey there, and welcome back. So today I'm not cooking, but I am talking about food, and I'm addressing a question that I get asked very often, and that is, should cancer survivors continue to eat meat after their diagnosis and treatment? And the long and short of that answer is that it's really up to you. There are organizations that put out both rules and guidelines about what healthy eating is and what a healthy diet is for cancer prevention and during cancer treatment. Some of those organizations are the American Institute for Cancer Research and the World Cancer Research Fund. There are other organizations that delve into this issue as well. And you can find answers actually in numerous places on the internet, both that are vetted and real with good answers, and then also the fluff. So I encourage you to look at places like Cleveland Clinic and WebMD, Harvard Medical Review, that kind of thing. And if you're ever curious about anything, you can always go to pubmed.gov and you can find the actual research articles posted there. I'm going to kind of tell you what I did in answer to that question, and I'll let you make the decision for yourself as well. So for me, I chose to stop eating meat and all meat products, fish included, shellfish, all of that after my cancer diagnosis. But it started much earlier than that for me. So in college, I was vegetarian. That lasted for a very short stint, maybe a year and a half. And then I went back to eating chicken and turkey and fish and eggs as well. When I met my husband, we got married, I started having children, and I think I became anemic when I was pregnant. So at that point, I was really craving red meat and iron. And so I started eating red meat again at that point. And that lasted for a few years while I was having my children. And then a year after my youngest was born, so when my youngest turned 1 year old, I decided that I was no longer going to eat red meat. But I continued to eat chicken and turkey, fish, shellfish, all the other things. After the cancer diagnosis, I really started to do more research about what a healthy diet was, and not only what a healthy diet was, but what is an anti-inflammatory diet? What is a diet that's low in oxidative stress? And that drove me to the decision to cut out all animal products from my diet personally. So today I also wanted to explore a little bit about the concrete reasons why I decided to do that. So for example, with red meat, when it is cooked, and it is cooked for a long time and heated to high temperatures and cooked in dry environments, somewhat like smoking or grilling on a grill, those kinds of things, yes, they might produce really great flavors and meat that tastes very good, but they also produce something called AGEs, advanced glycated end products. That happens when sugars and fats and proteins are cooked together and they bind together, and these AGEs, these chemicals, advanced glycated end products, are highly inflammatory and produce a lot of oxidative stress. And in fact, the charring and the browning and the black that many people like to see on their meat, it has been deemed to be carcinogenic in many studies. And that has been replicated in many large and small studies. You can find all that evidence by just going and looking for it. And so I decided that that was a really great reason to stop eating meat. So besides the AGEs, the advanced glycated end products, There are other things that are produced, other chemicals that are produced in the cooking process. And I just want to name a few of them here. So for example, heterocyclic aromatic amines. Amines comes from amino acids, and those are part of protein. It's what protein is made out of. They're the individual building blocks from which we make protein. And these heterocyclic aromatic amines are also very problematic in terms of health, highly oxidative and inflammatory. Another one of those type of chemicals is called polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons. All of these chemicals taken together are a really great reason not to eat meat. But again, that is each individual's personal choice. And though I will say that I did not start out making the choice to be plant-based or vegan based on the environment or because I love animals, which I do, but that wasn't what really got me started down this path. I will say that now I really do have much more of an affinity for animals and would rather not see anyone lose their life for my well-being. I have enough to eat on this planet that I don't need to hurt another sentient being in order to feed myself well. So going back to that, there are guidelines released by these organizations, and we are now on the third world report put out by AICR and WCRF based on what would be a healthy diet and a cancer protective diet. And that includes fruits and vegetables, whole grains, nuts and seeds, legumes, right? So we still need our protein. We can still get our protein from legumes and beans. Meat is not the only place to get it. And so it is more advantageous for us to get it from plant foods because our body can really decipher what it needs and how much it needs, and we produce less nitrogenous waste when it's not coming from animal products. Also, the iron that is in red meat products, it's called heme iron, heme referring to blood. Though it is more bioavailable, it's also more inflammatory to our body. So it's more beneficial for us to get our iron from non-heme foods, which would include beans and legumes. Also, nuts and seeds have protein in them as well, and a good amount of iron. And I could do another video later about high iron foods for people who are anemic. That did happen to me, and that is something that I had to learn more about. So I'll be happy to do another video about that too. So what are the other recommendations for a healthy and cancer protective diet? One of them is to maintain a healthy weight, to avoid alcohol, to limit our intake of animal products. And so the report doesn't say to completely avoid these animal products. It just says to limit them. So what's advocated is 12 to 18 ounces of red meat or meat products. That would include chicken, turkey, pork, fish per week. So if we think about that, a single serving of meat would be about 6 ounces, or the palm of your hand, right? Like a deck of cards, like a size of a deck of cards. So that's about 6 ounces, and that would amount to a serving. So 12 to 18 ounces would then be about 2 to 3 servings a week of some kind of animal products. And that's very, very doable for most people. The other way to make sure that you are avoiding some of these damaging chemicals that are produced from eating meat are focused in the way that you cook it. So, for example, cooking methods that involve moisture, like boiling or roasting, if that includes some kind of liquid, steaming, right? So those types of cooking methods produce lower amounts of ages and the heterocyclic aromatic amines and the polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons as well. So the longer, drier cooking methods produce more of those chemicals, whereas shorter cooking times that involve more moisture produce lower amounts of those chemicals. So if you wanted to continue eating meat, I would recommend that maybe you try some other cooking methods that produce lower amounts of those chemicals. Also, what happens when you, for example, grill fruits like pineapple or peaches on a grill? Well, you still get some of those ages, but you don't get as many. They produce a lot less. And so when you're looking at a diet that is both healthy and chemoprotective, it is actually beneficial to have less of those chemicals that you are ingesting. So in that regard, those are okay to eat. Again, too much of that charring and browning is not good for us from any food. And so that is what I have for you today. I hope that it has been helpful to hear about my choices and why I chose not to eat meat, and yet also to understand some of the science behind it. And I hope that that helps you to make your choices for yourself as well. If you have questions or comments, please feel free to comment down below. I'll be happy to respond and answer any questions. And don't forget to subscribe so that you can get all the videos that are coming out and not miss any. So thanks for being here, and I'll see you soon.